If it's something that can be recycled, it should have another life. It shouldn't just have its life as a net and then never be useful again. I used to be a fisheries observer, and when I was in Dutch Harbor and Kodiak and Akutan, saw mountains and mountains of nets just all over the place. And then I actually found on Twitter a company that was recycling maritime materials. And I was like, oh, well, I know where there is the material and I know where to send it. So the business was born basically just to connect those dots of taking material that I knew that it existed from my career as an observer and then sending it to a final disposal destination.
So we've actually been recycling our retired nets for about 3 or 4 years now. And back then it was pretty much, much simpler than it is now. We sort of bundled them into containers and then shipped them over to Europe where they were dismantled, and then the various plastics were used for recycling. Now we're trying to move into sort of the second generation of our net recycling program, which is trying to keep as much of the material and recycling as local as possible, so we're not sending on ships. So as recycling gets more common and accepted, there's more facilities closer by that we can use. And one of the great things about the net recycling program is that it's a good example of sustainability not necessarily having to be high-tech. These materials, once they're broken down and separated properly, are pretty easily recyclable. It's really just a matter of separating out the different kinds of plastics and making sure that they go to the right places.
Well, first and foremost, our priority is to become the most sustainable port in the country, and that requires innovation. I think we have very, very ambitious goals to become a zero-emission port, 2050, to half our emissions by 2030, but the key is in execution. And in order for us to execute, we need to invest, and we need more innovation in that space in order to get there.
Any fishing company could do this. Any seafood company can do this. And we have a lot of nets. Each of these nets lasts probably 3 or 4 years. And then when they're done, up until now, they just sort of sit here at the port until something else happens to them. Well, today we sort of took it upon ourselves to figure out what something else really meant.
I think as more attention comes around plastics and resource use and carbon emissions, and every company has a sustainability strategy, I feel like this is a really concrete strategy that people can do to move towards achieving the sustainability goals. And American Seafoods is a great example of a company that is actually, walking the talk and doing this.